Good morning, guys. I hope you're good, and so far so good. You're enjoying the course, but for a few, anyway, things are building up small, small, and you should be enjoying. But you have come to school, so you should enjoy it well, well. Anyway, so um, this is the fourth week, and little by little, by the time if you ask about the week, and then you'll be writing exams. So you'll be there. Um, Little by little, we are in the fourth week, and unfortunately, Sakai is still playing with us. We still are not able to have you all on the what do you call platform. The main campus is on now, but the seed campus is still in the bush. So we're hoping that it is sorted out very early so that we can take a few things and try our hands on the test. But so far, so good. Things are going quite well, and you're enjoying your course without slides but taking pictures. Anyway, as for the slides, it won't happen. You just have to get the book. I have already showed you the book. It's the book you must get. You see, it's a very simple book. Very simple book. So just get it and then you get to use it. So, and you know the deal. All of you would have to pay before they are released. And then now we have told you that you pay 70 to the TAs, and then you make sure that your names and index numbers are recorded, and then we proceed from there. So in no time, you will have the box. I hear some of you have started paying very well, and that's a good sign. But those who have not, kindly do so that you all can get into it. Okay, so for this week, we are going to look at Christianity and the Greek culture. Christianity and the Greek culture. And there's about two chapters in the book. It's about two chapters in the book. So you just need to get it and then you'll be done. So basically, we are going to look at how Christianity, the environment in which Christianity emerged. If you would recall, I posed the question that can you imagine that if Christianity was born in Saudi Arabia, would pastors be wearing suits? Because for every religion, the cultural milieu in which it emerged has influences. And so, can you imagine if African traditional religion emerged in Europe? Maybe our traditional priests would be wearing suit and tie. Can you be? But well, I mean, the cultural setting has influences on the religious practices and the way they do their things. And so, in like manner, how did the environment in which Christianity emerged influence Christianity or affect Christianity? And to do this, we must understand the milieu, the Greco-Roman context, so that we would be able to appreciate what happened over there. So Christianity and the Greek culture. So I am seeking that, or we're seeking that by the end of this lecture, you should have a fair understanding of the Greco-Roman political and religious systems. And then you should be able to appreciate the place of philosophy in Christian doctrines. You see, as Christianity emerged in an environment full of what do you call as it were, philosophy, it also certainly affected all the things over there. It affected the issues, and the birth of Christian philosophy in many ways. And so, how does the philosophy affect so wide? Again, as we look into that, then we also try to explore the relationship between Christianity and philosophy. And then we identify some church fathers. We'll just mention them. There's a whole course. And so we can't be talking about church fathers in such a simple course as this. So my outline would then be to look at the Roman political system, the religious system, Greek philosophy, and then church fathers, as you can see. So let's hit the ground running and see how the Greco-Roman environment has affected Christian development and Christian growth on this journey. Don't forget that it will be a good idea to subscribe to the channel, and even more importantly, if you have any questions and you put it down here, we'll try and deal with them as in the best possible way that we can. All right, so let's get on the move. Sure. So what we are saying is that Christianity grew in a cultural milieu which was quite different from what it sought to introduce. You see, when Christianity emerged in the Roman environment, Christians felt that there was a need, or there was something wrong with the cultural practices of the Romans, and so they needed to introduce something new. You see, so that was what engaged Christians to begin the ideas of Christianity. So they sought to introduce something new. If it was to maintain the status quo, then there was no need at all. But they sought to introduce something new. However, it grew in leaps and bounds amidst incessant persecution within the boundaries of two major cultures. So you see, when Christianity emerged, it sought to deal with certain things that they felt that was not right in the Roman system. And then over time, Christianity was able to sweep away the Roman culture and became the dominant Roman culture. When I say dominant, it doesn't seek to say that the other religions or the indigenous religion went into hiding. It was there, however, but then Christianity sort of covered it. Although the Christians did not have it easy, they faced a lot of persecution, they faced a lot of troubles, because you see, it's like the clash of titans, the clash of two cultures. When two religions are trying to come together, they will certainly face some discomforting situations, and so the Christians did not find it easy. These cultures are the Greco-Roman tradition and also the Hebrew tradition. You see, the Christians had a clash with the Roman culture itself. That's number one. And then number two, it also had problems with the Hebrew culture. Because you see, the first Christians were Jews themselves. And so they were fighting against the Jewish culture and the Roman culture. Because when Christianity arose, the Jews saw the Christians as a Jewish religion, in fact, as Judaism. But the Christians then also spoke against Judaism. And so you see that at other times, even the Jews will go and pitch camp with the Romans in order to fight against the Christians. So you see, it was so interesting with the metrics and the kind of things that were going on. These two cultures were diverse in their intellectual civilization. When we say you are developed, the two cultures are different in their cultural worldview as well. You see, so then when a Greco-Roman person is saying that you are intellectually grown, then it actually means that you are linked more with the gods and you are philosophically inclined. But then when the Jewish think that you are intellectually grown, then they are rather considering your affinity to Yahweh. So you see the difference. And so they do things differently. And Christianity is coming in as a third force, trying to occupy a certain niche, to occupy a certain gap, to occupy a certain space. So it was not going to be easy, not at all, for the Christians. The Greco-Roman world presented to Christianity an intellectual development in many facets of life. The Greco-Romans were people who sought to be intellectuals, learning of the alphabet, the literacy and dramatic form of learning, rhetorics and law, science and philosophy. And you see, these four forms of Greco-Roman way of doing things was rather interesting to Christianity. They were new, but Christianity needed to adjust itself to meet these what you call requirements, how to learn. I mean, you need to be scientifically oriented. And you know that sometimes when it comes to faith, religion doesn't come any closer. So, how do you reason? And then, from the Hebrews' perspective, the Christians were faced with religious and moral tradition. The Jews are very much strong in traditions and religiosity, you see. And then now they grew in legendary, in legitimacy to become Judeo-Christian tradition. How do you merge the Jewish culture with the Christian foundation to create a new one? So this was the issues that Christianity was confronted with. Now let's move on from here and touch on the Roman political history or political system. You see, the boggers among you, the boggers among you who have been traveling, you see, somebody could have by this time he or she just came from Europe. Oh, yeah. The boggers among you and who have traveled to Europe, particularly, I'm talking about Italy. When you go there, you see all around this symbol affirming the history of the Roman people. Now, the Romans hold this history dear for various reasons. Now, we say that Rome was founded in 753 BC by Romulus. In fact, the truth of the matter is that Romulus was a twin. He was a twin, Romis, okay, Remis. And when they were giving birth to, I mean, when their mother gave birth to them, it was said that their grandfather their grandfather said that no, the mother should discard the babies. So, more like the story of Amos, the mother then put the baby in a basket and left them on the river. And then the Romans believed that a wolf came to pick the children. So the wolf came to pick the children and breastfeeded them. That is why you see this picture. So this picture is a symbol of Romulus and Remus, who were fed by the breasts of what you call a wolf to become matured. So that is why you see this sign in Rome and in Italy a lot of times marking their history, that they were founded by two twins and what do you call them? The twins were abandoned by their mother at the instigation of their grandfather, and then what do you call later one of the brothers, Romulus, killed Remus, and then he founded Rome. And so that is more like the history of the Romans. Oh, I have something. Okay, let's do it like that. Some kings who contributed immensely to Roman development include these people. So when the Romans are talking about their history up to about the 3rd century republic, they mention some of these what do you call very important kings. Just like in Ghana, you talk about Kwame Nkrumah, talk about Free Far, and talk about many of these what do you call founding fathers of the country, J.B. Dankwa and the rest. These are also some of the people. Political instability around the 6th century pushed Rome into a republic. But meanwhile, the Roman political system combined three major what do you call systems. The first is the monarchical form of government. Those of you doing political science, or if you did how do you call it, government in secondary school, you would understand what a monarchy is. A monarchy is a form of government where you are ruled by a royal or a king or a queen, just as we have in UK, okay, and in Denmark. Yeah, they have a queen, so it's a monarch. So the king or a queen runs the affairs, and so they had a monarchical system where, let's say, sometimes the emperor would want to hand over to a son or some blah 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 blah, and that is where they use the consul system. And then they had the oligarchy, and oligarchy form of government is where what you call, you are ruled by the rich, okay, and the nobles, people who are seen as special. And then the Roman form of government also included democracy. Okay, sorry, you can't see that. It also included democracy. Yeah, it also included democracy. So that, and that is where they use the assembly. So by democratic form of government, they did elections and they gave in to so many other, so that it was like there is the monarchy, there is the oligarchy, that is the senate where you can't touch it, and then there are the assemblies at the various provinces and other places of authority. That was their form of government. Yeah, so this was the picture I was looking for about Romulus and Remus. It captures their history. So to from the top, you see their picture, then you move on to see the wolf that fed them, and then you move on to see their mother, who was then asked to dispose them off, and you see them on the, what do you call, on the river. So this was the first, the wolf, their mother, and then on the river, and later when Romulus killed Remus, Romulus killed Remus, then he became the king and the founder of the Roman Empire. So that is a picture depicting what you call the Roman history. But often than not, you see the wolf when they were breastfed by the wolf. So you see the wolf and the two boys around it, usually in Rome. Yeah. So let's look at their religious system. Very interesting. After all, Christianity was espousing for a new religion, and so there you go. The Romans had a well structured religious system that was flexible but not elastic. Now, you see, basically what we are saying is that in terms of the Roman understanding, you see, if you want to understand the Roman religious system, you must think about it in terms of the Ghanaian political system. You see, so and no, that in terms of the of African traditional religion, the indigenous practice. You see, in Rome, they were polytheistic. The Romans were polytheistic. That is to say that they accepted various gods, and but then they were quite reserved. They were quite reserved on adoption of certain gods. Let me, for instance, give an example of Sibyl. When they had to go for the god Sibyl, it was difficult for them, but they were going into battle, and the priests had told them that they needed the support of this god. Meanwhile, they know that this god liked human sacrifice, and the Romans did not like human sacrifices, so they did not like this god. But they had to then make certain adjustments. So that is not to that is just to say that although they were polytheistic, it was not as if any god that came they just accepted. No, that's why we are saying that the Romans were flexible but not elastic. They are flexible to other gods, they are receptive, but then to accept you on, it's not that simple. You see, the Romans were behaving like young girls. Before, when you propose, they will tell you, "Oh, I'll think about it. I'll think about it." But this time, somebody has been waiting for 5 years to get an answer from someone. Oh, Charlie, it's not easy. So it's not that simple. They just don't. And sometimes the young ladies, you ask them, idea could now again for me bombay. Sorry. Anyway, so you just have to perceive it in that order, that the Romans were elastic, they were flexible but not elastic in their reception to other gods, although they were polytheistic. Thus, even though the Romans were polytheistic, they were very careful in their reception of new gods or new religions. Ferguson remarks, upon the gods Romans could call, that part is not here. Romans could call upon the gods of an enemy city to change sides, promising that the Romans would give more dutiful service to the deities than the people from whom they had been accustomed to receive homage. And this is so interesting about the Romans, because in those days, when they are going for war, the understanding is that you are backed by the gods. So it is the gods who lead you. And that is why very often than not in scripture, when the Christians are in the Old Testament, when they are going for the Jews are going for war, they will be led by the Ark of the Covenant box, and to them it was a symbol of the presence of God with them. So generally, the Romans also believe that, look, when you are going for war, you need the support of the gods, and that it is by the gods that you can win or lose. So that one is established. Given that as it may, the Romans would then, when they are going for battle and they are offering their sacrifices, they will then call on, let's suppose that Ghana is going to fight USA. So, for instance, Ghana will then pray to the gods of the Americans that, "O ye gods of America, depart from the Americans and come to our side. Come and support us. When you have supported us and we win, we will even give you more support. We would even serve you better than the the Americans are serving you." You see, again, it is just like you go in for a girl, a young lady, and that young lady tells you, "Oh, I have a date." To say, "Oh boy, I didn't know to me them out. Oh boy, what to me ato car out. Oh boy, what to me ato Apple no crazy drawing 74." What me ato Apple 74 amount. See, so what you are doing is that you are trying to tell the young lady that, "Oh, me, I can take good care of you much more than the so-called boyfriend that you seem to say that you have." You see, and that was the same idea. So the Romans will try to bait the gods of the other lands so that those gods will come and support them to fight and win the battle from those perspectives. So that is what Ferguson Everett is talking about, that the Romans could call upon the gods of the enemy city to change sides, promising that the Romans would give more dutiful service to the deities than the people from whom they have been accustomed to receive homage. It tells you how the Romans venerated the gods, and they often wanted to interact with them. The impact of Greek culture on the Roman way of life is generally noted as Hellenization. So if in an exam or in a test I ask you what is Hellenization, then you must be quick to answer that it is the impact of Greek culture. It is the impact of Greek culture on the Romans. So that is Hellenization. And we talk about Hellenization because Hellenization is all about attention on two major things: philosophy and the gods. Philosophy and the gods. And so the Romans placed a lot of emphasis on the gods. Everything they did, you will proceed and you will get to see it more. The Roman gods could be categorized into functional terms such as God of protection, God of security, God of love, God of peace, God of honor. So these are functional. Okay, so they are seen based on the function that they play. So if you want protection, you could go to a particular god who will give you protection, so that when in the exam you even get it wrong, I will mark you correct. So God of protection, God of security, well, protection and security, sure. God of love, if you want to do a young lady for girls, or you want to do, these days even the ladies have been doing the boys for boys. You go to such gods. Let's say you want to somebody to love you, or blah blah blah. You can go to this god, the God of peace, God of fertility, God of honor. So these are based on their function. Now the gods are structured in the form of from the homes, okay, so that some of the gods are home gods, they are kept in the houses. And you see example, the lares and the what they call written. Those gods are kept at home for personal devotion. And over there, the father is what we call the paterfamilia. Paterfamilia is the father. So if in an exam or in a text, I ask you, in the Roman home, who is the paterfamilia? You say father. That's all. You don't go and not. So right. So the paterfamilia is the father who takes care of religion in the home, and then we have the municipality. So let's say in your home, and then your municipality, let's say Gan East, Gan West, Gomwafete, the goals that take care at that level, and then the goals of the empire. So then you see the three levels: the home, the municipal, or the regional. Let me put it that way. So let's say the goals of Accra. So they met in their homes, they met at that level, and then they met at the empire level. And then some of the prominent Roman gods included the Vestas, and these are goddess of the family life and the home. So the Vestas, also known as the Hestia, are gods in the home. Then the Lares and the Penates, those ones are also kept in the home. And then you may have heard Zeus or Jupiter, who is seen as the king of all the gods. So in exam, you could ask, who is the king of all of the gods in the Roman what do you call religiosity? Then you tell me Zeus or Jupiter. You give one, it's fine. Saturn is also seen as the god of time, wealth, agriculture, and fertility. And Saturn is a very important god at the time who was worshipped, and it even had what they call temples to be worshipped in the Roman Palatine range. That is where the emperor lived. See, Saturn was important, and then Juno, who is the queen of all the deities, is the queen of all the deities. Although, and so is a wife to Zeus, but there are a bit of differences if you want to push it that way. So you hold it, and then the god of war and defense is Mars. Mars. So when the Romans are going for war, they call on Mars and all of that. And then Aphrodite or Venus is a god of beauty. So if you want somebody, if you want to be beautiful, maybe you have skin rashes on your face and you want it to go. You see Zeus, and then Zeus will tell you what to do so that sure. So that you see the gods in the Roman system were approached based on their function. That is the most important point I wanted to make, so that their functions determine what they did. Now let's look at Christianity in Rome, therefore. Christian interaction with the Greco-Roman world enjoyed the benefit of a unified empire. So the fact of the matter was that at the time when Christianity emerged, Rome was unified. There were no wars. There was a good level of stability at the time. There was a good level of stability, political stability, I mean. The Greek sociocultural environment was, however, adulterous and corrupt. Sexual perversions and loss of morals were the order of the day. And these were the things that Christianity sought to correct when it was, when it emerged in the Roman environment. It sought to deal with the adulterous way of life of the Romans, so that they did not understand why the Romans, sexual perversions were on the rise just as today. Corruption, corruption has been there since, and so it has just been like that. And we're talking about sexual perversion, where you go for war, you jump on people. Marriages were not revered, people were not respected. Some idolatry and adulterous way of life and all the things. So these were the things that the Christian faith wanted to deal with. And usually when there is stability in a country or in a region, then you see people hustling or wallowing in these decadence, these moral fallout. Early Christianity looked on this world as white and ready for harvest and easy to make convert because they realized that the Christians felt that bonia doso ha eni ne edwuma be koso. It is like Legon. You see, body or had in your body ketwa. In the Christians, so many are pray every now and then they are doing crusade, every now and then they are doing evangel because I have one and on your body ketwa. Anyway, so the Christians saw among the environment or the people that they interacted with as so worldly and so sinful, and so they need to give them the gospel message. The real challenge for the growing trend in early Christianity was the Judeo-Christian incursions in Greek and Roman pagan religious and philosophical milieu. You see, however, what was even difficult for the Christians was their interaction with the Jews. You see, because you see, the Romans saw Christianity as a Jewish religion. But when you go in there, because Jesus was a Jew and his first disciples are Jews, and Jesus is using Jewish element and he's speaking on Jewish themes. You see, so it was difficult for the Romans to see. When you continue to study on this course, you do history of the early church, and you see how much of the confusion it was for the Romans to understand the distinction between Judaism and Christianity. And so it became a major problem. The philosophy of the time of the Greco-Romans were contradicted by the Christians and the Jews in that matter. So it was rather a difficult situation. And so it also made it difficult for the Christians to make inroads because, look, after all, you are Jews. And so I can't, and Judaism is a closed religion, it's not a missionary religion. I mean, at the time, when we talk about Judaism, we are talking about being a descendant of Abraham. So then, if you are not a descendant of Abraham, you cannot be circumcised, and hence you cannot be a Jew. And so, when you talk about missionary religions, you don't really include, and I'm saying really include Judaism. And so, if you are like that and you see me as a Gentile, why are you now coming to me? To what end? Because in your understanding, salvation is only for the Jews. That was why Christianity needed to break the ranks, and you see the impact of the rule of Paul, as we discussed last week, that he then sent the message to other lands. And last week, if you recall, we made a point that Paul made Paul contributed in making Christianity what do you call a Judeo-Christian, what do you call a non-Jewish religion. So that it's not only salvation, it's not only for the Jews, according to Paul, but it is for people of all nations and of all worlds. So you see the incursions and you see the makeup of the situation. So that was really a problem for what you call Christianity, the distinction between Judaism and Christianity. However, in terms of Greek philosophy, the Romans loved philosophy, and though through life's situations they lived philosophically. That's the point we wanted to make. That all through lives, all the things that they did, everything was focused on philosophy. Philosophy was key. Philosophy is key. For Christianity to make gains of winning the people, it needed to take on philosophical outlook. And this is very important. This was very important because, look, like Paul puts it, when I came to you, I behaved like a Roman. When I came to this, you see, so it is important that you take on the attitude of the person you want to win. You see, because Christianity would want to win the Romans. The Romans are philosophical. If you go and your presentation is not philosophical enough, then you don't meet a certain thinking trajectory. You don't meet a certain level of reasoning, and so the people will not be receptive to you. So, in essence, what the early Christians needed to do was to brace themselves up and to take on some philosophical outlook in order to be receptive to the majority of the people, because at the time, majority of the Romans were, philosophically inclined. They were thinking philosophically, they were acting philosophically, and so they wanted something philosophical. Because, and you see that in the ministry of Paul, when Paul traveled to the various places where he ministered, you realize that sometimes you are told that he will gather around him some philosophical groups like the Epicureans, the Stoic, the Platonists, and all of those people, and then he will present his message. And that was why Paul is a bit more pronounced in Christianity to some extent, because look, how many of the disciples of Jesus were educated? But you see that Paul was very well educated. And last week, if you recall, we mentioned that he learned under the tutelage of Gamaliel. I mean, a very important Jewish teacher. So Christianity needed to attract that class of persons. It's like, if I want to talk to doctors, I must present myself in appreciation of the medical field. If you want to talk to engineers, you must relate it. You see, in education, we have what we call from the known to the unknown. And so you must begin from the level where the people know what you are talking about, and then you move them to what you desire them to know. And so Christianity needed to take on that outlook in order to be receptive to such persons and to have the needed impact that it desired to have. And this was very key for the Romans, and they needed to appreciate that and cut it. So in Christianity taking on these outlook, these philosophical outlook, it was intended to make inroads with what they call the new people. Early Gentile Christians came from two different what they call cultures, as in the Greek and the Judaic what they call cultures. So we have already mentioned that Christianity faced or suffered with these two cultural what they call setups, the what they call Greco-Roman setup and the Jewish setup. So those were the people from whom they won what they call into Christianity. Christianity was therefore in the development of 8 doctrines, ethos and pathos, and hence all of these were influenced by some philosophical underpinnings, some philosophical understandings as a result of the Christian movement. And so the Christian doctrines, as to what Christians believe, that is why it's even difficult sometimes when you have to explain certain doctrines of the Christians, like what they call the Trinity, like the Holy Spirit, like the sacrament. I mean, it's difficult because it takes on some philosophical understanding, and you need to appreciate these before you can what they call proceed to know what is going on. It is therefore maintained that Rome impacted Christianity and Christianity influenced Rome. So we say that Rome impacted Christianity. Rome or the Roman culture affected Christianity. And indeed, the Christian culture also affected the Romans. So you see that bypass interaction between the two, both the Romans and the Christians. There is that interaction, there is that flow, there is that linkage between the two. One affected the other, and the other also affected the other in building each other up. Some of the philosophies at the time included Stoicism, Abonism, Platonism, Epicureanism, Pythagoreanism. So these are some philosophical schools, and these ideas have indeed affected Christianity. If you would recall, during discussions last week, we mentioned that Stoicism, which is more about the philosophy of the self, pleasure, and knowledge, that was the school that somebody like Paul akin himself to, although sometimes he espouses some Platonist ideas as well. And of course, there is a good what do you call interaction between Stoicism and Platonism. But these philosophies are well explained in the book, and you need to get it. Sure. So when you get a book, you'll get the explanation to or what these philosophical schools believe more in. Sure. So then, other Christian philosophical groups also emerged who were seen as heretics. Now, these are philosophical groups but they did not exist as philosophical groups. They existed, or they emerged, so to say, as people who disagreed with some mainline Christian philosophies. Okay, so for instance, the Stoics believed in the fact that there are some secret books, there are some secret aspects of Christianity that nobody is entitled to unless it is open to you. So their things were rather interesting, the kind of things they believed in, the structure of the things they accepted, and the way they did their things were not the regular Christian way of doing things. Okay. For instance, the others, like Docentics, they believe that Christ was not human. Christ was not human, he was God. You see, so, and then they emerge with all kinds of understanding and positions which were not what do you call the true, if you like, the way the the Christians perceived it to be. The Marcionites maintained that the Old Testament was not important to what do you call Christian development, and that it's only the New Testament. Even the New Testament, it is Matthew, Mark are not important. It is Luke, and you see, so they believed in certain aspects. The Arians also maintained that no, Jesus was not God. You see, and that Jesus was a subordinate to the fathers, all kinds of things. But all of these, again, like I mentioned, I explained in the book. So once you have them, you will understand the basic understandings of these, what do you call, philosophical or heretics. Now, the term heretic are seen as people who have wrong teachings. So heretics, okay, they are wrong teachings or a deviation from the norm, a deviation. So they were not the normal way or the right way by which Christians identified and perceived themselves. But then these groups like the Gnostics, the Docentics, the Marcionites, the Arians were of different breed of Christianity, and their way of doing things was not acceptable to the mainline Christian position, and that was how come they were seen the way they were seen. Now, in dealing with these Gnostics, there was the need for fathers. You see, for instance, in Christianity, I recall that when the subject of what you call rhythmic prayer came up, people were saying, what is the Christian Council saying? What is the Papa, Archbishop Duncan William, what is he saying? What is Otabel saying? So all of these people who, so to say, have become the fathers of the church. What is Apostle Nyameche saying about it? You see, we want to hear their voices, so they become like the giant, they become like the point of reference. So in the early church, there were certain personalities who were seen as the giant, who were seen as the papas, the papas of the time. When they speak, everything dies out. Yeah. So these are what we call church fathers, because they established the foundation, they established the Christian philosophical position, and they try to deal with certain responses that people were looking out for. So we are saying that Christian thinkers therefore developed their ideas and projected them in direct response to pagan criticism and philosophy. So pagans who criticized Christianity, pagans who raised qualms against Christianity, were then responded to by these church fathers. And when they had to do it, they did it strongly. And many of the times, their thoughts became very important for Christian development. There are generally These people are generally, or they are generally known as church fathers. So the church fathers were those who defended the church and those who stood for the church and those who, developed the doctrines and positions of the church with regard to certain things. And a number of them are named Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Clement, Origen, Tertullian, Athanasius, Augustine, so many. There are so many of them. There are so many of them. There's just a few, and you can find a lot about their history. You can find a lot about their personalities and their contributions to Christianity in the book. A book in India is very, very important because there's everything in there. There's everything in there. So you would have to get it so that you know more about these people. I can't take them one by one and talk about them. No. That is why the book is prepared for you to read, to know, and to be able to produce things when they need to be produced. Sure. So you just have to know about these church fathers. The idea is that, just as I've mentioned, they are like the papas, you see, of the time, and they stood against a lot of the heretic movement at the time, and they tried to establish the Christian foundations and the Christian ways of doing things in order to rid Christianity of, if you like, bad elements or things that are not genuine or correct in essence. Sure. Right. So, in conclusion, for this one, we are saying that the Greco-Roman way of life was indeed different from the way of life of the Christians, just as we have mentioned. The two cultures, therefore, influence each other very much in form and practice. In form and practice. Just as I was saying, if what do you call Christianity was emerged in Saudi Arabia, I am sure that the Pope will be wearing jarabia. That certainly would be because of the practices. But Christianity has also affected what do you call the Roman world, you see, so that when Christianity later became the dominant religion after Constantine, you realize that a lot of things, a lot of the practices, the worship of the gods died out because the Christians are monotheistic, not polytheistic. Sure. So then, Hellenization was a major impact on Christianity, particularly in terms of its philosophical underpinning. I've told you that Hellenization is built on two things: philosophy and the gods. Philosophy and the gods. Okay, the worship of many gods. That is more Hellenized, you see. But Christianity then had to take on Christianity eroded the religious aspects in belief in many gods to say that there should be a belief in the one supreme God, the one supreme God. But then, as it pushed away the religiosity, it just imbibed in Christianity the philosophical underpinning so that Christianity will look philosophical, will look appealing, will look in tandem with the times so that it will be receptive by all other persons and have the needed impact as it is expected to have on the people and to be able to affect the flanks as it is supposed to. And so the interaction between the two, Christianity, Judaism, and the Greco-Roman context, was indeed an interesting mix, and it affected each other in so many ways, so that it is as a result of the philosophical underpinnings that also gave room for the heretic movement to arise, because they were thinking and they were assuming things through, and they needed to answer certain existential issues. And for them, the best way was to do it philosophically. And that therefore gave them the opportunity. When you're thinking about philosophy, you're also thinking about independence in mind. And so when the people are getting independent, then they are also questioning certain foundations of the Christian faith. And that then gave room for the questions against Christianity. And inadvertently, they drew from the lines. Then the church fathers needed to come in the middle and stir the waters. I mean, keep things down in order that we know that this is the way and not the branch that they are presenting, in order to present Christianity as a more appealing religion, a focused religion, a religion that stays on its flanks and not to be moved by every ideas of understanding, but to keep up the, if you like, to keep up the heat and to maintain things in their right perspective. So that is it about what you call the interaction between the two, and how Hellenization affected Christianity, and Christianity also affected Hellenization. I go Jina go de. Alabama South. Da mu duka. We'll all do well. All right, so guys, thank you so very much for today. I'm most grateful that you're able to join the class and you're able to follow it through. Again, hope and pray that before Thursday, Friday, Sakai will come up so that we can do one of our tests. We've delayed so much, and I don't really know what is going on, but we'll still push for it so that we're able to move it up, and then we can address the issues that we need to. If you have any question, just feel free. I am your course advisor as well, and so you just feel free to contact me where need be, and then we see how we can help each other. Don't forget to pay 70 cedis for the book to the TAs. Once you buy it, try as much as possible. Remember to write down your name and your index number, and then you do very well to read it when it comes out. We're going to release the box when you have all paid. So please, the earlier you pay, the better. Don't forget that we'll certainly have IA as well, and that is going to be in-person IA. So get yourselves ready. Let's take the bull by the horn, and then let's proceed. So thank you so very much. Next week we'll see you in class. Next week will be in person, and so try as much as possible to be around and come prepared. If you have any question, I'll be available to address them, and then we see how things go. Thank you. Take good care of yourself, and bye bye.